Got Your Eers On is brought to you by Tactical Legion Knives. Live from the campus of Talk Radio, under the direction of Guido, Scoot, and Johnson, it's the pride of podcasting. It's Got Your Eers On.
All right, everybody, hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Got Your Eers On. I'm Guido, along with Scoot.
Johnson wears fanny packs?
And Johnson.
Negative.
That's a big negative, he says.
I mean,
I don't know.
If you saw our tweets,
I saw a picture on the internet. This
looked like Got Your Eers On uses legit photos, so...
Yeah, I mean, I
said it was you.
You might be familiar with the term fake news.
I mean, I'm just saying two things alert. I'm concerned that, one, you prefer leather fanny packs, which is just a whole nother animal. And two, that you appear to wear jorts.
I thought you were going to... Why is it the comment about how he wears fanny packs without shirts?
That's
like,
normal.
That's
like Johnson normally never wears
normal.
a shirt, so that part wasn't weird. It was the jorts and the leather fanny pack.
Know that I'm always shirtless, jorts, and a leather fanny pack. Yes,
that's how you is. I mean, look, I see him right now. That's what he's wearing.
I'm recording right now. I've got show notes stowed in the fanny pack.
Will the fanny pack ever die? We don't know. Dude, guys, so a great week last week with basketball, though. We had an awesome week. We started it off on Monday last week playing Texas, where Spencer Mackey apparently beat Texas all by himself.
You would think, yes.
You would. I mean, if you saw the news articles and all the craziness that came out after he hit one 3-pointer.
Well, it was
Spencer
definitely
Mackey.
First of all, talk about if you ever needed an elixir to the sick feeling you had coming out of Kansas State, boy, did you ever get it in the Texas game. And Spencer Mackey ended up kind of being like the cherry on top, really, of that evening.
I don't like how they push him around, though, like the teammates do, as if the boy either doesn't walk like a normal person, or two, like has never been on a basket. It'd be like taking somebody that's never seen basketball and we're going to just start moving him around. He averaged over 35 points a game.
Yeah, in high school. Yeah, right.
He can play.
Yeah.
He'll figure it out. I'm sure he found a way to score before.
Well, and here's my and then just to kind of tie it into the Missouri game, I thought, well, okay, he got in, he hit a three, the Mountaineer Maniacs went crazy, like everything, okay, all's right with the world. Now we won't see this happen again, for the rest of the season. There's no more Spencer Mackey show. But no, that's incorrect. The same exact thing happens all over again at the end of the Missouri.
Well, but Scoot, what are you referring to, though? Because if you're referring to McCabe kind of shoving him up the floor after he hit that three, I think it's because he pulled out the Sam Cassell big balls move after he banked in the three against Missouri. I think I'm speculating. Hugs may have not loved that, and I think McCabe being
gonna make him Irish Huggins,
the kind of the court leader, kind of gave him a shove, like, hey, knock it off, get up the floor, get in your position. So that's the only time I've seen them really like someone give him a shove.
This is like they're getting ready to inbound a ball. And not the guy inbounding the ball, but like somebody near him is like pushing him around to like tell him where he needs to go to somehow get open. Like,
oh, okay.
They're kind of going above and beyond, and obviously they're trying to get him to score. I get that. I understand that. But he obviously can create his own shot. You don't score 35 points in a game without creating your own shot.
He has the ability to hit the 3-pointer.
Right.
Like let him play the game. Like let's not make a circus out of it.
Well, did I see that correctly though? So I'm saying he pulled out the Sam Cassell. Did you see that too?
I saw it. Okay. If you go on the internet, there's video of it. There's like still photos of him doing the whole I got him in my hands thing. So it's
I don't want to dive too deep into that, but what are we saying really when you do that? That what I mean, like what I mean, I don't even know what you're getting at. What are you getting at?
You want a technical breakdown of? I think what you're saying is my testicles are in fact so large, I have to house them in my hands.
I almost think it would be better if you said balls, Johnson. I think it makes it weirder when you say testicles. Like, I think if you said balls instead of testicles.
I feel like that makes it a more technical explanation.
But, I mean, I don't know.
I feel like I'm at my doctor's office. Mr. Guido, your testicles.
But here's what I think is going to happen. I think anytime the Mountaineers get up by 20 and they're at home, at that 4-minute timeout, it's going to start the Mackey chants.
The Spencer Mackey chants are going to go crazy.
Like every game. Every home game where they're up by 20.
Well, real quick, just to your point, he almost hit a floater after that, a drive.
He did.
He actually had a nice-looking drive, almost hit the floater. So, yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with you. I think he obviously knows how to score. He obviously knows what he's doing.
We treat him, though, like he's been in a cave for 9 years, and we've rolled the stones out of the way so that he can see sunlight again, and we've given him a basketball.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not quite sure why we do that.
Yeah, and oddly enough, guys, there was, in both of those games, there was another, 38 minutes of really good basketball by the other 11 guys on the 12 guys on the team. Both of those games. So, I mean, it's great, I guess, that he's getting all the... I think there are two good things that come out of it. One is it's kind of cool to watch. And two is he gets all the press. Now he's gotten 2 cycles of press that where they haven't really been talking about anything else on the court. You know, you don't hear the whole Oscar and Culver thing. You're hearing more about him. So either way, that Texas game was... both of those games, and the Missouri game, but that Texas game was fun to watch. Like, there was, I mean, Oscar looked amazing.
I did have a prediction come true.
Okay.
Which was?
Texas has a tall, skinny guy with a big, fluffy hairdo.
Yes, you were correct.
Yep,
I wouldn't say it's quite an afro, but it was definitely
And he did foul out, which was great.
The other thing, too, Guido, Jody McCreary on Twitter posted something I thought was interesting. It said, and I'll put this in the show notes, but he's got a tweet that he had sent out as the game was winding down. It said it could be just the 5th 40-point loss in the history of Texas basketball and the first since 1983. Now, we ended up winning by 38, and if I look at the list Jody has here, that puts it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th worst defeat. And again, that's since 1983. So I think just generally, before we leave that Texas game and move on, I think when Shaka Smart got to Texas, I thought, man, that's going to make them a formidable power. And I think as people were kind of heckling him at the Coliseum, he is probably on the hot seat, wouldn't you think? I mean, he
probably is. I mean, it's unfortunate because he's a very good dresser.
He is a sharp dresser.
What's interesting is, didn't they part ways with Rick Barnes?
Yes.
For Shaka Smart.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
And Rick Barnes is doing what? Coaching at Tennessee and turning them into perennial.
He's had success the whole time he's been at Tennessee.
Right.
He's won everywhere else. So I kind of find it a little odd that they would.
Well, I mean, if you think back, Shaka was like the hot topic coming out of VCU at the time. So I guess, they were trying to strike with something they thought they had. Yeah.
So here's my question about those 2 wins, though, the Texas and the Missouri win. Do you think that this team finally woke up after that K-State loss? That K-State loss was, hey, we gotta figure this out, and that's what they did those 2 games? Or do you just think that Texas is not that good and Missouri's not that good?
I think it's probably a little of both. I know that's a wishy-washy answer, but I think Missouri's not that good. I think, Scoot was texting during the game at one point when I was doing my normal Missouri went on like a 13-2 run, got back in the game, and I started doing my oh god tweets,
here we go.
Scoot was like, look,
you start getting on the railing of your back deck.
Yes.
And I'm worried that you're going to try to jump off.
And Scoot was texting me like, look, we're the far superior team. They'll figure it out. And we did. So, I mean, I think Missouri, we were talking about their stretch of free throws and record on that and everything. But I think generally speaking, there's a reason they're 9-10 now. They're not. Yeah. They're not lighting it up. And I think Texas, although their record I don't think is terrible just at face value, I think they're struggling. I think they lost their SEC matchup too, right? Who were they playing?
I think they had a pretty weak non-conference schedule, if I recall looking at it, and so that's where they've done well, is in their non-conference schedule, and then once they hit the conference schedule, they've struggled.
Oh, they lost to LSU. Actually pretty close, but still. I mean, that makes them 12-7, and I just don't think I think they're struggling too. But I think, Guido, the other side of that too, I think WVU came home from that disaster at Kansas State, and it almost feels to me like they got together, like, hey, we're better than this. Let's take care of business these next two games, because I mean they won these games going away. I mean, with authority.
Well, and I think for me at least, looking at it and looking at both of these games, I think the big thing for me was that the point god is back, if you will. You know, Jordan McCabe had two really good games. You know, doing what we need him to do.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily mean points, but it means assist. It means ball control. It means
I agree.
Leadership. And he was on the court both games more than he had been in the last previous three games. So I think that's a big news. And Scoot, I'm surprised, Scoot, you're not going crazy about it. That's your boy. He's NBA quality point guard.
Here's
here.
what I think really is telling, is I think what this has proven these last two games is that those god awful uniforms made Jordan McCabe and the rest of the team sick to their stomachs, and they did not play to their ability because they were sick.
Yeah, that's what it is.
All right.
Okay.
Because
you're saying they had lavender itis or something.
Yeah, they looked horrible, and I think they just kind of made you give you kind of I don't know how to describe that, stank face.
Well, so one other thing that I thought that looked horrible, and we talked about it a little bit the other day, but I want to bring it up one because it's my buddy Matt Najowitz tweeted this out the other day. But on ESPN, during the Missouri game, ESPN referred to Derek Culver as Caleb Boone.
Yeah, what was that about
in the pregame? And
what was that?
So Naj caught a picture of it and posted it out on Twitter. I'll put it in the show notes. But they even gave a number and everything. So who did they mix? I don't even know who Caleb Boone is. He someone for Missouri or something? I didn't go back and research it, but
it's kind of was it like when Ray Allen was Jesus Shuttlesworth?
I feel like there's a meme there, right? Like when he plays bad,
he's Caleb Boone. When
if he happens, so the next time he happens to have a poor game, we can just say, oh, Caleb.
That's Caleb Boone.
Yeah,
Caleb Boone's at the free throw line right now. Culver will be back.
That was
later.
I was saying that's like ESPN 3 or ESPN Plus coverage right there when you get the names wrong.
It was like ESPN Plus coverage. And Scoot, how on the Missouri game? How did you do following all the Smiths that were on the court?
There were a lot of Smiths. You know how sometimes they will put a circle around a player, and then they have the graphics that with an arrow or something. I think they needed to do that so we can keep track of all the different Smiths.
Right.
I wasn't all that impressed with all the Smiths, to be honest. Missouri really didn't. I mean, I just wasn't as impressed by Missouri. I think it was a good matchup for WVU. There are some other matchups in the SEC that I'm kind of thankful we didn't see, but I think what I've learned from watching college basketball a lot of times, and this might be what happened to us at Kansas State, part of it, is that sometimes the matchups aren't good. It doesn't necessarily mean if the team isn't good, that doesn't always matter. If the matchups aren't good, if it's a different style, or if personnel wise we don't have the right guys to go up against some other team's guys. I think sometimes you see that, and I think that was part of the issue. Now, when we play Kansas State coming up here soon, I'd like to think we'll win that game, but it's probably going to be a lot closer than it should be, just because I think that matchup is a bad matchup for WVU.
Yeah, I mean it could very well be. I mean, that we used to have that with Texas. I feel like all the time we'd run into bad matchups. But again, I think I text you guys there the other day. I mean, and that's something else maybe we can talk about really quick. But Kansas State turned around, went into Kansas, and just got shellacked. And so the whole time I was looking at that score, I was thinking, man, I just feel like we should have, we play better. We just don't lose that game the way we did. I don't know what happened that game.
I guess I'm still under the frame of thought that, that they went into that Kansas State game. At the time, I think Kansas State was 0-4 in the conference.
Yeah.
They had a terrible, record. And I think that those guys went into Manhattan and were like, oh, this is going to be easy.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right.
And I think you saw it more on the fact that we've been playing better offense the last two games. We hadn't been playing great offense, so we weren't winning games with offense.
Yeah.
We've been winning games with defense, and we went out there and just played like lackadaisical defense, and all of a sudden, that's what killed us in that K-State game. I think that game woke those guys up to realize that, because the defense in the last two games has just been crazy.
Yeah.
I also want to say this one thing. If I were in marketing, I would, especially for a major credit card company,
Okay.
I would do my best to get Gabe Osaboyan and get him some camera time, because he's always taking charges.
He must
So,
lead the country in
like,
charges.
If I'm Capital One or if I'm American Express,
He's the Willie Mays Hayes of WVU.
Yeah.
Don't steal home without it.
That's right.
I'm always taking charges.
he's always taking charges. He's got to lead the country. I've tried to look up that stat. It's a hard one to find. But
He's got to lead the country.
I mean,
in
good
charges.
grief.
I feel like he has to.
I used to say that about Beetle Bolden. Beetle always felt like he took a charge. But Gabe, it's like his life mission to take charges.
He's got like the stickum on his shoes. Like he hits the paint. And he's like boom.
Yeah,
just doesn't
it's
move,
like deflections and charges. That's all this guy wants. Like I would get like Teflon.
I think that speaks to the hustle too, because you have a lot of work to do to get in position for a charge, a lot of work to do to keep the defense up the way he does to get those deflections. He works his butt
I'm
off.
telling you, and I said this before, I'll say it again. He reminds me of a very athletic Cam Thurman.
Yeah.
Cam kind of had some of those little things that he did. I think Gabe's a little bit more athletic than Cam, but I think that's kind of what he reminds me of, and that's kind of why he's like a Huggins type guy. Like Huggins loved Cam Thurman because of that.
Yeah, well, and Guido's said before, I mean, he does all the things you're never going to see on a stat sheet, but they come up big.
So let me ask you guys now. We after last week, and we are, we're 16-3. We're playing great. After last week, what do you feel like our chances look like in the NCAA tournament? What do you feel like this team can pull off for the NCAA now? Are we an Elite Eight team? Are we a Final Four team? What do you think, Scoot?
I think we're easily. I say easily. I think we are easily capable of being an Elite Eight team. Final Four, we're right there on the edge. I think.
I feel like this week we kind of got, we got the shaft a little bit. We only went up 2 points. We came out ranked 12th after two dominating wins. I know against teams that weren't ranked and weren't great. And I thought, man, we were going to be top 10 after these two wins. And we weren't, but the talk is still there about this team being Final Four, or maybe, I'm going to say it, is this Huggins national championship team? Was it Clay Matvick, one of the announcers, who said, I think they're a great team, and he kept pointing out flaws, like there were 3 flaws. He said that they need to shoot from the perimeter better, foul shooting, and there was another. I can't remember what the other one was. I think, to be honest with you, I think the outside shooting is there, so I'm not really as worried about that, because I think McNeil, I think Taz Sherman, I think Deuce, if we can get Emmett Matthews back on track from outside, I mean, there's shooting there, so I'm not as worried about that. Foul shooting, I mean, yeah, that's an issue, but there's only so much you can do with that. I think they're capable of being a Final Four team for sure. I mean,
I think I know why you're asking, Guido, but I always dread this conversation because I just want to enjoy it. But I think if you continue to see them slotted in like some people have them on the 2 line as a tournament team, some people have them on the 3 line. I think if they can play their way into the tournament at that high of a seed, then I start to get really excited, because the tournament's crazy to begin with. I don't think I think what we're seeing right now, like last week, these two games over Texas and Missouri, it kind of overinflates things because we were just admitting that we probably don't think they're terrific teams, but they're solid teams. But I think what we're seeing is teams they're not prepared for a line change. They're not prepared for 2 waves of 5 guys to come on the floor, in my mind. I think that's what wears teams out. I think the defense and the rebounding wears teams out. So to me, I said it a couple shows ago, and I continue to think that the team's ready to go as far as the guards will take them. And that's why I love it when we see, you and I were texting the other day, Jordan McCabe has a streak there of a game or two where he looks like he's getting back on track. I'd love to see Emmett Matthews get back in the fold as much as he probably wants to. And then, you sprinkle Deuce in there and even Taz Sherman when they start finding their shots. I mean, it's pretty...
Sprinkling Deuces makes me laugh a little bit. I don't know. I'm sorry. Didn't mean to ruin your rant. I'm sorry.
Well, I think it's going to go as far as, like, Oscar and Derek are going to be solid. I think it goes as far as the guards can help supplement that. But I think if you play your way into a high seed, then yeah, I think you start to look at that Elite Eight, and then can we push it into something special? So
I mean, if we can get a 2 or a 3 seed, I think definitely. And here's something that's going to blow your guys' minds. Probably not Scoots, because Scoot doesn't really care about statistics and rankings and all that. Right now, so Ken Pomeroy, you guys know I talk about Ken Pomeroy all the time. I love the Ken Pom rankings. Right now, ranked, Ken Pomeroy has us ranked 6th in the nation overall.
Okay.
6th in the nation, behind Kansas, Duke, Gonzaga, Baylor, and Dayton, and then us.
So that is a 2 seed.
So that is a 2 seed. But here's the thing, and everybody, and listen, I believe it's true in every sport, and especially in basketball, defense can win championships. And adjusted for defense right now, we're number 1 in the nation in defense. We're number 1 ranked team in the nation in defense. And so that's that's something that we've been, and if you adjust it, if you look at our average opponent defense, that's 7th in the nation. So we're playing tough defenses, we're winning against tough defenses, and we're the toughest defense. And for me, I think that's where you win is in defense. So I watch those Ken Palm rankings every week, and we have constantly been 1 or 2 in defense.
Well, before we segue out, I mean, are you guys surprised that the Big 12 SEC Challenge went 50-50? It went 5-5?
I think, what, in a normal season, I think I would be surprised. I feel like we have a lot of dogs this year in the Big 12. I feel like there's a lot of teams this year that are usually good teams, or usually put together pretty decent teams that are dogs this year.
I guess I just asked because I came out at first I was like, ugh, but then looking at the matchups, it's probably about right. The only one I think that surprised me is I really thought, and it went to overtime. It was a great game, but I thought Texas Tech would take care of Kentucky. I think that would have been a good show for the conference to get that win.
Right.
But everyone else, if you look at the matchups, it's probably about right.
But all of them were, with outside of us and Baylor, all of those games were they were fairly close.
Yeah, no, I agree. It was a good Saturday.
Texas Tech only lost by 2. Iowa State almost beat Auburn, number 16 ranked Auburn. Texas LSU, which neither of those teams are powerhouses in basketball, but Texas LSU was a good game. So
yeah.
So speaking though about the number 1 team in the nation, Mr. Bill Self and his Kansas Jayhawks, we have to talk a little bit about what happened in that Kansas State game. We haven't had a chance to do a show since that happened over a week ago, but I want to talk a little bit. I want to see what you guys feel about it, and especially about DeSouza getting the 12-game suspension, and it was just insanity. It was just crazy.
Well, I guess my first question, because everyone's certainly seen the videos and been able to assess the stool that was taken out of D'Souza's hand and spilling over on top of people behind the baseline. Everyone has seen those videos. But I guess my first question for maybe Scoot is, are you surprised with the 12 games? Like, what is your reaction to who he's been?
I would have thought he'd be done for the rest of the year. To me, he is the instigator numero uno. Like, he's staring over the guy as he's laying there, and then, obviously the Kansas State teammates, it wasn't even the guy that got blocked, it was the Kansas State teammates. They take offense to that, probably rightfully so. They've lost that game, so they're already kind of angry. So now you're going to show us up by blocking our teammate and then staring down at him, and then he gets crazy in the crowd and he grabs the stool. And I saw a tweet that the only stool that is worthy of grabbing is like Hugs WV stool, or this is the best stool in the country. That was and then you got the Jayhawk holding the stool in the
stool. That was my favorite.
I'm not gonna lie, I laughed at that when I initially saw it. I guess I asked because that was my gut reaction. Was I feel like 9 times out of 10, I feel like if it was us, Hugs is just gonna say, "Hey, you're finished."
It's
like
typical
you're
Kansas, like, right? I mean, so Bill Self's got some sort of weird sneaker deal, and he's paying guys off, and nothing's happened yet. So he's gonna keep doing what he does.
Well,
and
I don't know if you guys had a chance to watch the ESPN College Game Day on Saturday.
yeah,
before
they're doing College Game Day at Kansas,
which I thought was ridiculous. And the fans are booing when they start talking about it, which keep it classy, Kansas, like way to do. But I will say, I think it was
we do a weird chant. It sounds creepy. Like, what are they doing? It's so weird.
But I think Jay Billis did the interview with Bill Self, and kudos to Jay Billis because he didn't let off the throttle at all. And he was like, let's talk about all the problems in your program with this fight and the whole, money thing and the whole Snoop Dogg thing. I mean, he brought it all up in the thing. I mean, I don't know if it was more he was doing it to let, Bill Self get a mea culpa, or if it was just more of a, let's try to bring it all out. But it makes that program number one in the nation, team in the nation. That program is so dirty, like ridiculously dirty.
Well, I think I'm trying to go ahead and prepare myself for when D'Souza comes back and has a big impact in the late season games, conference tournament, probably against the Mountaineers, that will just fire me up.
He's going to be like a Joel Embiid, though, like where Joel Embiid didn't do jack squat in college, goes off to the NBA and is like a force in the NBA. That's what concerns me about D'Souza, is that's the kind of guy he is. He's just like a big athletic guy. I don't know. They come across as very smug, and it just feels dirty.
All it did was feed to the fire of how much I hate Kansas.
Yeah. Me too.
And I mean, it's similar to Texas in football. It's just like, what else can you do as a program to make me dislike you more? Like what? Like keep making me hate you more.
At least their football team has a chrome-like face mask,
which dooms them, right? That's what you're saying.
Yes, because it's like a red chrome, which is even worse.
All right, guys. Well, listen, let's take a quick break. We're going to come back, and we're going to talk a little bit of WVU soccer right here on Got Your Ears On. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this. Vortec Knives is a West Virginia owned and operated company specializing in high-quality steel, fast-opening, everyday carrying knives. If you go to vortechknives.com today and use the code GYEO, you get a 25% discount on your entire order. That's Vortech, VORTEK knives.com, a West Virginia owned and operated company specializing in fast opening, high quality, everyday carry knives. Vortec Knives.
This is Rex Shinohara. You're listening to Got Your Eers On.
All right, welcome back to Got Your Ears On. Guido along with Scoot and Johnson. Don't forget, check us out online. You can find us on the social medias, all of the social medias. We're on the Twitter, at Got Your Ears. We're on Facebook. You can find us there, Got Your Ears On. We're on Instagram, because that's what the kids like nowadays, at Got Your Ears. So Scooty's going to start.
Not on TikTok.
Scooty's going to start the TikTok.
Oh, we need to be on TikTok. You need to put some TikTok videos.
You should
out.
put the. You should be in charge of the.
Thanks for volunteering.
Yeah,
for that.
you're the Got Your Ears On TikTok guy now. There you go.
Okay.
That's a long. That's
Okay.
a long.
He's
Figure
like,
out what that
oh,
means, but
That is
okay.
a long stare.
Okay, I can do that, I think. So, so definitely check us out on all of those platforms. You can find us. And don't forget, you can also call us, our Got Your Ears hotline, 304-518-GYEO. That's 304-518-GYEO. Dial it up. Leave us a message. Maybe you'll get on the show. Guys,
Give us that hotline bling.
we have a new head coach for soccer, men's soccer, and he is a winning coach. He comes to us with a winning record of amazing. Isn't his record, Scoot, something like crazy? Dan Stratford
Came to us from, he was a player at WVU for
right?
4 years, and then went on, had a professional career, played in the MLS for a year, then he went back to Europe, played, I believe, in England for a year or two, and then got into coaching. He was an assistant coach at WVU. Then he got a head job at the University of Charleston.
Check out this record. 61.
61-4-5.
That's crazy. That's insane.
So 2-time Division II national champion, and he also played professionally in the U.S., Scotland, and England. So impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
61-4.
And can I add one other thing, Scoot?
Sure.
In this post this is from the 21st, but from WVU Men's Soccer, they have a picture of him in a pullover that I also own. So I feel like
he
I've
dresses
never
like you.
seen anyone else wear that pullover, and so I immediately
Gravitate
like
toward
him. Yeah, I feel like that's
and
a
you
good.
feel that winners wear that pullover. Is that what you're trying
I'm
to say?
just you connected the dots. I just
So
put it
you're
out
saying
there. So
only winners wear this pullover, and they must have discontinued it once the two of you had bought the two pullovers.
right. I mean, they're like, we've issued enough. We can move on now.
He's stepping into a pretty good situation. A lot of times when you take over a program, you're either rebuilding or something's gone awry, and that's not necessarily the case. The strange thing, I think it's strange, it's maybe not as strange. So the Big 12 doesn't have a soccer conference for men. They do for women.
Right.
So I think that's odd.
So we play in
We play in the MAC. Now, the MAC, if you try to equate the MAC in football and the MAC in basketball, you're probably thinking it's not a first-rate conference when it comes to soccer, but it actually is.
okay.
Surprisingly enough, national power Akron, multiple-time national champion Akron, is in the MAC. So it's a very, very formidable conference, and WVU was coached for a long time by Marlon LeBlanc, who came to WVU from Penn State, had a real solid track record. Good record at WVU. He chose to resign. I think a lot of it had to do with his family. He's got, I believe, a son that's getting a little bit older and starting to play more and more things. And I think that there was a draw family-wise to another part of the country. So I think that that's what's pulled Marlon away. It wasn't because things were going poorly. So that opens the door for Dan Stratford.
Now, I know, Scoot, that, and Scoot, by the way, if you don't know this, folks, Scoot is our resident soccer aficionado. Would you call it football? You call it soccer.
Football.
What do you prefer?
No, I call it soccer.
American soccer. Scoot, how odd is it for a D1 team to reach down to D2 and pull up a head coach like this? You know, I mean, he has a phenomenal record, 2 national championships at the University of Charleston. You know, I think he's been like coach of the year in the Mountain East like every year for the past however long. Like, is it a strange move for them not to look for an assistant coach at another D1 or try to poach another lower level D1 or to go to D2 like this?
It surprised me a little bit, only in the sense that when Marlon LeBlanc left, Shane Lyons said that we're going to open up a national search. So when you think national search,
You don't think University of Charleston. You don't think 2 hours south.
you think it's going to be somebody from somewhere else, not
Or if you were riding the Hyperloop 8 minutes.
Yeah.
That's right. And maybe that's what they were thinking. We'll get the Hyperloop in and we'll bring some national talent from
Right.
somewhere else. But I think what it ended up being was the best available happened to be right under our nose
Yeah.
at the University of Charleston. He's got familiarity with the program. He understands what it's like to come from somewhere else, to come to West Virginia.
Well, and no dig on University of Charleston, but I mean, he has to win 2 national D2 championships, in the past 3 years. He has to be a pretty decent recruiter, especially overseas.
Well, I read he said within the last year he had over 27 different countries represented on his team.
Right.
How crazy is that? Think about that.
Yeah. So, I mean,
What language are they speaking? Soccer. That's what they're speaking.
Soccer. They're speaking soccer. So I would imagine that he's a pretty strong recruiter, and that's good for the program. So does this, Scoot, in your mind, does this raise WVU to a higher level? Is this going to be a national contending team now, or a couple years because of his coaching pedigree?
I think they've got a legit chance to. I think he's going to maybe push us above the threshold. We've been nationally ranked, but when it comes time for tournaments at the end of the season, we've not necessarily. Now, we did win the MAC this year, which is kind of ironic that Marlon LeBlanc left after we won the MAC this year. But
and how is it, by the way, that a Power 5 conference doesn't have a men's soccer?
It's bizarre. I don't understand it. I think it's crazy.
Like, are there any other ones that are like? I mean, I think all of the other Power 5s have soccer programs.
Yeah.
Do these college? I mean, I guess they don't play soccer in Texas. That's probably part of the problem.
I was just getting ready to make a poorly soccer. We ain't playing no soccer down here.
We don't play no soccer down here.
You go play your soccer up there around High somewhere.
High.
Who's got the worst? Who between Johnson and I? Who has the worst?
That was pretty bad.
I don't know. They're both pretty bad.
I mean, mine was pretty bad.
Well, you think you can do better, Scoot?
And I don't want to see you putting your hand in a sad cow hand either. You better not do that. It makes me mad.
only play American.
Well, I reckon they ain't got no soccer down in these parts.
I feel like Scoot can only do like an 1800s Texan.
That's like if John Wayne was talking about men's
Well,
soccer.
Pilgrim.
You gotta say something about parts. Down in these parts, I reckon.
We only play American football around here. I hope we don't have anybody from Texas listening to the show. We just offended all of them in the whole state.
Well, we were doing that with sad cow hands. I can't even talk. Sow cat hands.
Sad cow
Don't
hands.
show me those sow cad hands.
Oh, you sow cow. Man.
See, we could go into you could do like the Scoot. Remember when we do battles of foghorn leghorn?
I'll say. I'm just saying that there is some.
That's a sad cow right there.
That's a sad cow playing some American soccer.
Look at that! Look at that conference. It's huge. How them boys not have a soccer?
Ain't that cute? Look at that MAC soccer conference. Ain't that cute? That's the cutest little soccer conference you ever seen.
Well, folks, this is what happens when we try to start talking soccer on our show. Hey, West Virginia. Let's go Mountaineers. Congratulations to Dan Stratford on the position.
I'm just saying that's a soccer segment.
Maybe. Hey, and listen, you want to hear the other thing, guys? Because we all know it. We've all paid for ESPN Plus. You'll be able to watch some of those WVU soccer games on that ESPN Plus.
Oh, hey, bring the value. I'm happy to hear that. Bring the value.
Big 12 extra.
If you do want to see good quality soccer being played at a very high level, go catch the Mountaineers at Dick Gillespie Stadium, right outside the Coliseum. The women's soccer program, led by Nikki Izzo Brown, also nationally ranked year in, year out. Very strong program. They do a lot of practice across the street. They've got their own little practice facility across from the Texas Roadhouse there.
Look at that Roadhouse.
Look at that little Texas Roadhouse.
Look at that Roadhouse.
Yeah,
right there.
I'm just saying that's a Texas Roadhouse.
I'm just saying that's a Roadhouse.
But they are they've put WVU soccer kind of on the map, and that's I like seeing that Shane Lyons and the athletic department are reinvesting in that soccer program. It's hard sometimes to get those Olympic sports the notoriety that they're sometimes due, and I think that Shane Lyons and the athletic department have done a really good job of putting some of that, pushing it to the forefront.
Listen, guys, let's take a quick break, and we're going to come back and talk a little bit more about Shane Lyons and money as it relates to the Coliseum. So let's hear a little bit from our sponsor, Tactical Legion Knives, and we'll be right back on Got Your Ears On.
Tactical Legion Knives, a West Virginia owned and operated company that specializes in heavy-duty tactical knives and gear for the professional warrior, the weekend warrior, and the outdoor warrior. Our products are built tough. For who? For warriors. Hey Mountaineer fans, make sure you go on Amazon and search Tactical Legion Knives, and when you do, make sure you put in the promo code 25 TOBRADIO for Tob Radio. You'll get 25% off on Tactical Legion Knives.
All right, welcome back to Got Your Ears On. Guido along with Scoot and Johnson. Don't forget, check out our website, gotyourearson.com. It's newly designed, looks great. It's kind of the hub. You can find everything out about us. You can listen to the show every week. You can listen to old shows. You can see show notes. Johnson, there's pretty much everything.
Yeah, we'll post after each show. You can go there to look at everything that we tried to cram into the show notes. It's always a lot. We always put the links in there. And then if you want to, if you're not already subscribed to services, you can head to the subscribe page. It'll give you a full rundown of every place that you can find us on the socials, including our own personal Twitters, as well as the hotline to call in. So yeah, check it out.
Definitely. So guys, kind of a tragic start to this week in basketball. Where on Sunday, Kobe Bryant went down in a helicopter accident, killing himself and his daughter on their way to a basketball game, as well as another family and their daughter and pilot and a few other people. Definitely just kind of sad, and just wanted to hear your thoughts on Kobe and what he meant to the NBA and basketball in general.
Yeah, I mean, for me, Guido, it was one of those, like, kind of takes the wind out of you news moments. I was walking into to something with my kids over the weekend when I got the blurb on my phone, and then you guys started texting and we started talking about it, and it was one of those, like, it was bad enough just to read that it was Kobe. I mean, we're Kobe's age,
right,
to put it in perspective. So, to me, that's
same age as all of us.
He had a lot more in his, post basketball career to do, and he was already doing. And then when you read further that, he had a daughter on board, then, we all have kids. And even if you don't, I mean, that's just, to me, then that's even more heartbreaking. And that was the thing that, as people have been talking about it on sports media, just hits home and makes you reflect. And that was just a tragic thing to hear about over the weekend.
Yeah, Scoot, what do you think?
Yeah, the whole fact that his daughter was on board is really what. I mean, it's tragic in itself, but the daughter on board is really what set it apart for me, because I've been coaching my daughters. I've got a daughter that is a year older than his daughter, so it even ties it in a little bit more for us. I've coached her in travel softball and some basketball growing up, so it's definitely a connection. And we do a lot of traveling to this day in the sports that she plays, so I understand totally what those trips are like. And some of the moments that you share, and it's crazy. I mean, it's a crazy schedule, and I totally get why he would take a helicopter, because you can shorten that trip, because he's probably making trips like that all the time, because we're making trips like that all the time. So, but those moments on those trips, those are some of those are just as precious and as meaningful to me as my daughter's father, as I'm sure they were to Kobe and his daughters. So it's heartbreaking, like you said, takes your breath away, kind of. It kind of is shocking, and then immediate sadness after you hear that, it wasn't him and that it wasn't some reason ridiculous. And
well, and isn't it always interesting too? It's such a silly thing to say, but isn't it odd how your reaction is when it's someone like even if you didn't like, I'm not a huge NBA fan, but I'm a huge sports fan, and Kobe Bryant's one of those people that just kind of transcends, even if you weren't an NBA fan. And so it's funny how it like shocks you when, you just think something like that can't, I mean, how silly is that? But, you kind of put yourself in that mind like that can't happen to a person like Kobe Bryant. And then when it does, it kind of, I think that's what rattles everyone. It's like, hey, here's a reminder, that stuff can happen to anyone.
Well, and I think what else makes it even more crazy or whatever, if you will, is the whole thing that, the night before LeBron breaks his record, his last tweet is like, thanks to the king for carrying on the greatness of the game or whatever. Like, just all of that just makes it feel so strange.
I agree.
And I guess the reason I bring it up on a podcast about WVU is I think the biggest thing that come out is there was a huge groundswell from the internet today of wanting to redo the NBA logo with Kobe's silhouette as opposed to Jerry's. And it was kind of, I think there was a lot of talk. I saw a lot of talk on Twitter and other places about how, Jerry came out today in an interview and said, Kobe was like a son to me. I was very close to him. And Jerry's obviously close to that program or close to the Lakers, And so it's just kind of interesting to think about, in a lot of ways, I feel like as West Virginians, we own that. We own Jerry as the logo, but maybe that is the right thing to do. Maybe the NBA needs to change it up, and maybe that does not only pay respect to him and what he did to the game, but also, move the NBA forward in a lot of ways too. So thought that was kind of interesting.
No, it is. Yeah. And I think Jerry West, I feel like I've read a couple of the autobiographies, about Jerry West and how I don't know that he's ever been comfortable being that logo anyway. I don't think he's not someone that points to that like, hey, that's me, that's just not his style. He's never really done that. And I can see him actually, just speculating, but it wouldn't surprise me if he even supported that, for the way he felt about Kobe and everything, and that being a Laker, and it wouldn't shock me if he would support that idea.
Yeah, go out there on change.org. There's actually a petition you can sign it. So I feel like, even though Jerry's a West Virginia guy, I feel like that's kind of an interesting thought. Speaking though of and actually to kind of tie Jerry into what we're going to talk about next, we've been talking about Jerry West a lot on the show lately because we have been saying a couple of times that we think the Coliseum should be renamed, the Jerry West Arena or whatever.
Right.
Bob
Huggins Court at Jerry West Arena or something, or at the Jerry West Coliseum.
And Mike Carey basket.
Yeah,
the Mike Carey baselines or something.
Mike Carey baseline. But oddly enough, news came out today that WVU, after trying on their own for a while, has asked IMG Learfield to sell the naming rights to the Coliseum.
Yes.
And I take a nice long pause there because it just
well, isn't it funny how
I don't know how else to say it, just to say that it just sickens me. It's horrific.
Well, isn't it funny how that's your gut, because that was my gut reaction too, even though I think it's probably, practically speaking, that's a smart idea, get some value out of that. I mean, there's, come on, how many other places are doing that? But I think your mind, Guido, probably goes where mine does, and I don't want to end up like, welcome to Gabriel Brothers Coliseum at WVU, like I don't, and nothing against Gabe's, but it's kind of like remember when we went up to play Ohio State at Value City Arena? It's like, please don't do that to us. I'd rather have no name than something we all groan over, but it feels like it has all the makings of a groan fest, like. Well,
maybe I was thinking the same thing. I was like, okay, so what are we going to call it? The Vortex Knives Coliseum, and
that's the solution. Listen, it's going to be Tactical Legion Court at Vortex Coliseum.
At Vortex Coliseum.
Yes, our big time sponsor is going to pony up the cash.
He's got to pony up the cash,
and I think that's the move.
I'm just afraid we're going to end up with like, Eaton. Well, welcome to Eaton Park, Coliseum.
No,
on the
you know what?
WVU
Here's the thing:
campus.
is this is what it's going to end up being, and like I mean, not to throw out names of possible, but it's going to be something like the Antero Coliseum or the Thrasher, Coliseum.
I've heard rumors that it could be Tudor's Biscuit Basket. We're going to be playing games at the Biscuit Basket.
Tudor's
See,
Biscuit
I've always
Basket.
thought, Scoot, you know how you and I always tell Guido he refuses to see it, but when you're watching a Patriots game and they show that logo and you and I agree it looks like an orange juicer?
Yes, either that or like, because it's Gillette Stadium, I thought it was some sort of like either electric shaver or a I guess maybe
Guido's told me, but I still actually don't know what it's supposed to be because I always just see an orange juicer. But if you look at the Coliseum, to me, it
a meat
also
tenderizer,
resembles. It always resembles an orange juicer to me as well, and I feel like
A
it's
little
just
bit.
ready made to be like the Tropicana Coliseum or the Minute
Tropicana
Maid
Coliseum.
Coliseum. It's kind of like why it's the same vein as.
So
Well,
here's my problem.
It's in the same vein as how I've never understood why, like, Charmin or someone or Northern doesn't sponsor the Creative Arts Center because it looks like a giant toilet sitting up on the hill.
and the Toto Creative Arts Center, the Kohler Creative Arts Center at
Or like
WVU.
the American Standard. Creative Arts Center.
Here's my problem though about it, and like stop for a second and think. Well, we'll talk about like Milan Pushkar Stadium, and that's fine. He was a large donor, and it's and I get that, right? And I understand naming things like the T. Boone Pickens Arena or whatever they call. I understand doing all of that. But think about in college basketball. Think about some of the most famous places where basketball is played in NCAA. You have Fog Allen Fieldhouse, you have Rupp Arena, you have the Dean Smith Center, Cameron Indoor Stadium. Like none of them
You
are
have
named
the historic Gallagher-Iba Arena.
Yeah.
the historic Gallagher-Iba Arena. I
not
mean,
historic.
even you could even say like, well, the Carrier Dome's Carrier. Well, the Carrier family donated that money,
Right,
not
that's
the
a bit
company that
different,
makes
yeah,
air conditioning.
right.
It's a bit different, but like. I mean, I'm very nervous about this end up being called the Gabe's, Coliseum.
Yeah,
Coliseum,
I just don't want to, to me, and I feel like I'm the type
Sheets
of person.
Arena,
yeah, right.
like-
It's like I don't want it to be cheapened. I mean, the Coliseum means a lot to me, and I would rather you not. I would rather you not relinquish those rights if it's going to be to something we all go, oh, geez, that feels really cheap.
And I mean, it's a money grab. I mean, it's a money thing.
Sure,
I understand.
There
that.
is a possibility, though, and I think this makes sense that Taco Bell might want to get in on it and call it the Upside Down Taco Bowl
Okay.
because it does look like an upside down taco bowl for a taco salad.
So we know that Scoot will have no part of the
Right.
naming.
We just
of the
determined that.
marketing genius that he is.
And I'll be honest with you. Here's the other thing you guys are going to cover. You might want to cover your ears if you weren't wearing headphones. That'd be easier to do. But it doesn't bother me as well as it does you guys. Like, I feel like it's just it's what everywhere.
I feel like this is because you're from New York's upside down frying pan hat. And
Well,
it's like that's why it doesn't resonate as much or something.
Yeah, I mean, I get you are a little curmudgeon-y and they're not going to name that on my dead body.
Here we go.
So-
Call Johnson old. That's always
I just
the
think that's
wild card.
Think of like a lot of these places, like the Yum Center. Louisville plays in the Yum Center.
that is true.
Like, think of
And
that.
that sucks. I don't want to play in they probably hate that.
Yeah, like how much, Scoot, do you want to be like, oh yeah, man, the game at the Gabe's Coliseum was great the other night, that the Sheets MTO Arena was awesome. Like nobody wants to talk about. You don't want to say that. We like talking about.
Listen,
we hate Kansas, but
If it means that there's more schmuffins, I'm in.
Are you trying to tell me though that wouldn't bother you? That would bother me.
It doesn't. I know. I mean, it's the name of
Welcome to Qdoba Arena, home of Bob Huggins Court or something.
Johnson, what if it was named Chipotle
Oh my God.
Center? What was it? What if it was named the Chipotle? What would you do?
Listen, he's backing off right now. Look he's backing off. He's not as upset.
And if you went in and all the concession was run by Chipotle,
he's not as upset. He is a little
now,
giddy right now.
If it came with that,
he would be forking out the money to the athletic club. He'd be like, "Hey guys, how much money do you want for ticket? I'll fly up every weekend."
If that's the case, though, that probably means I'm already part owner. If that's what they're doing,
Like he's not upset about that. Look at the smile on his face. He's like, his fingers are crossed. We can't see his fingers
just
right now,
funny.
but they are crossed right now. Please, Shane. Please, Shane, go Chipotle. Do the right thing.
He's like, "Oh man, I hope." But it's not going to be named the Chipotle Center. It's gonna.
no, I'm just afraid it's going to be. I'm just afraid it's going to cheapen it. That's all. I mean, honestly, that's my only fear. I don't really. It's not that I care that they name it. I just want it to be something we go, "Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. That feels solid." You know?
I read on Twitter that they opened it up to IMG because they weren't satisfied with the Mr. B's Coliseum.
I saw Mike Casaza put that up. That was pretty funny. That was a
Welcome
funny
to the Hive.
Ooh, that could work.
You are in Mr. B's Coliseum.
That could
Hey,
work.
listen, I would almost appreciate
that actually is kind of funny. I'm okay with that.
the Mr. B's. I
like
that.
if it's Chipotle, are we going to the Big Burrito? What are we going to?
That would be ridiculous. That would be absurd.
What if it was called the Country Club Bakery Coliseum? Like that would work. I'd be okay with that. See, then we're okay. But it's not going to be that.
No, chances are it'll be like the Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration Coliseum.
Yeah. Yes.
Like
The little general store arena.
Yes. Oh my god.
the Glotfelty. We're going to go to the Glotfelty Tire Dome.
Now that we've given out, we have just now given out so much free advertisement to all these companies. Yeah, I don't know, man. It'll be
interesting to watch. But I think your point, though, Guido, that we're skipping. I mean, we're thinking of Morgantown region stuff. But I think, to your point, the whole reason of going with IMG is it is a more national search, and I guess they are able to garner.
And
more.
I mean, and I don't know, and I can't. This is gonna say I love West Virginia University. I can't imagine they're in such a money-strapped position that they need to sell the rights to this, and they couldn't call it the Jerry West Arena.
You guys are such curmudgeons.
That's my problem. I think that's where I'm coming from on it. It feels like a money grab. I feel like the school could just say, you know what? I mean, Jerry West deserves it. It needs to be called the Jerry West Arena. And I know I'm a broken record, and I've been saying that for the last 6 months, but it's
I'd much rather it be that than what Scoot's about to say.
Johnson is so curmudgeon-y. I don't even know if that's a word, but I'm going to say cantankerous that he was upset when they put the color on the gray walls inside Mountaineer Field.
I was not.
He did not like the color that they put in there where they have like the pride of the West Virginia or whatever. He said, "What are they doing with all these fancy colors in here? I like gray. What's wrong with gray? Can a man enjoy a good solid concrete pour?"
I feel like Johnson was mad when they built the end zone and the scoreboard and all the suites there in the end zone.
I like me a good dirt hill. What happened to my dirt hill?
I want to see that hospital.
I want to be able to see the hospital. I can't see the hospital anymore. The hospital is my view is blocked by that giant TV with scores on it.
I can't see the parking lot. It ain't a football field.
I want to be able to see the helicopter laying on top of Ruby Memorial. Oh man. Well, we'll see what happens. I mean, they haven't come out. They haven't said what a timeline would be to come up with a sponsor and a name, or even what the plan is. But it'll be interesting to kind of follow that as they try to name the Coliseum. I'm hoping a donor will step up and we
so
get.
there, you're saying if you and Johnson and I put our money together, we have a shot.
Yeah,
we could sponsor a seat.
We could maybe get a seat named after us. Yes,
the Got Your Eers On seat in section 201.
How amazing would how amazing would it be if we had the Got Your Eers On arena? I love it.
Should we make a Kickstarter?
Let's make an offer. Let's call IMG and make an offer.
A GoFundMe?
Yeah. A GoFundMe for it?
Yes.
Right? We'll give her like $2,000. Name the Coliseum after us.
Come on, IMG.
All right, guys. Well, listen. Let's wrap it up for this week. We'll be back next week with another show talking about, I hope, more basketball wins and maybe a Coliseum that's named the Yum Center or the Made to Order Sheet Center.
The Biscuit Basket. Over there at the Biscuit Basket.
The Biscuit Basket. The Tudor's Biscuit Basket. So stay tuned, folks. We'll be back next week. Thanks for listening. Don't forget, check us out online on our website, GotYourEersOn.com. Find us on Twitter and Instagram at GotYourEers and all over the place. We'll talk to you guys next week. Have a great time and go Mountaineers. You're listening to Got Your Ears On.